The world's largest bank just made a $4 trillion Bitcoin backflip. It is the most surprising because of how outspoken the CEO of this bank has been. But as I always say, watch what they do, not what they say, because this time, as they say here in the land, we still don't trust you, Jamie Dimon, because look at what we've got here. We've got Bitcoin-backed loans now based on their, quote, crypto ETF. So JP Morgan, the world's largest bank, if you don't count the banks in China, then is now the largest bank, and they're offering these Bitcoin-backed loans. So the bank overall will consider clients' crypto holdings while assessing their overall net worth and liquid assets, similar to stock, cars, or art. So I think that's an interesting little caveat there that they put cars and art in there. And the changes will be applied to all of the bank's clients globally, spanning multiple levels of wealth, and come as big banks respond to client demand for more favor regulatory environment. So just how big is this asset lending market is a question you need to be asking, because how much money could be potentially coming to this? And why did JP Morgan and Jamie Dimon all of a sudden flip on this? Well, obviously it's partially because of their clients asking for something like this, but there's also a big market here for asset-backed loans. In fact, it's ginormous, and it's growing at a CAGR that is almost competing with Bitcoin. I know I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but the global asset lending market is expected to be around $2,123 billion, or $2.1 trillion by 2033. Let me check my watch, folks. That's only 8 years away. And right now it's at $689 billion, and that was in 2023. So who knows what it's been at this? We could look up what it's been here in 2024. But the CAGR has been 11.9% during the forecast period from 2024 to 2033. And in North America, it's held a dominant market position, capturing more than 42% of the share, holding USD 28.96. But why is this very interesting, right? I think it's a lot to come with the timing of events, because we've had Jack Mallers come in and absolutely disrupt the banking market. So shout out to Jack, friend of the program, but him and Strike have announced that Strike will have Bitcoin-backed loans, and they're offering it at a lower rate than anywhere else. And in fact, you could just have your Bitcoin on Strike's program or platform, excuse me. You don't have to have it with the IBIT ETF or BlackRock or any of these big dogs. You could just have, with Strike, and then they're offering these Bitcoin-backed loans. So you could essentially use Strike as your full bank at this point. So the best time to go Whole Foods and buy eggs with your dollars was 1913. Every other time after that, you are getting screwed. I love that quote from Jack. Had to share that one. But I think the unique aspect, right, is what Jamie Dimon is pointing out here, right? He's been a huge Bitcoin bear. He's been, reluctant to say the least, but he's surrendering, bending the knee, if you will, to Bitcoin and Bitcoin's dominance. And they've continued to be one of the Bitcoin's most vicious skeptics. And they are always just being extremely negative. Jamie Dimon has, in fact, come out and said that it's rat poison, and that it needs to be, or that its only use cases are for drug trafficking and sex trafficking and doing illegal activities. But I think the timing of all of this is very unique as well, not only because of what we are seeing from Jack Mallers, but what Jamie Dimon is saying about the bond market. Now, I don't want you guys to be like, hey, this is absolutely crazy, and I don't understand how the connection with this to the bond market makes any sense. Stay with me here, folks, because Jamie Dimon has come out and said that the bond market is showing massive amounts of cracks. Well, Wells Fargo CEO came out and said, yesterday that the most underrated aspect of this Bitcoin bull run is what Bitcoin is doing to the bond market. It is starting to scoop up some of this market share of this 300 plus $1 trillion market. And so why did Wells Fargo say that? Well, because of what MSTR is doing. So, like I've said at the beginning, watch what they do, not what they say. Look at what MSTR and their holdings from Jamie Dimon have been. You've seen it skyrocket in flight and absolutely take off, where Jamie Dimon and JP Morgan are absolutely doubling and tripling and quadrupling down on their holdings. I mean, look at how many shares that they had here in June 1st, 2024, about 58, what is that? 58,000. Then it jumped to 660,000. Then it jumped up to 10,000, 11. I'm trying to do this math here live on screen, as you guys can tell. The top of the mind math while I'm under the heat of this camera might not be the best, but it's absolutely watch what they do, not what they say, right? Because Wells Fargo is saying the quiet parts out loud, that the bond market is screwed. Bitcoin has been scooping up the bond market. MSTR is a big reasoning for that. And Jamie Dimon, even though he's been saying Bitcoin is decentralized Ponzi schemes and that Bitcoin is absolutely terrible, he's been a major skeptic of crypto tokens. And this is from September 2022. He's been talking about Bitcoin for quite some time, but it seems like he's just starting to come around. And because of that, his clients are starting to get involved in the Bitcoin space because Jamie Dimon and his bank realized one thing: the client is always right, right? The client is always right. So if the client wants these Bitcoin backed loans, if the client wants to buy Bitcoin, well, looky here. Look at what they're doing. They're going to do it. The one issue with all of this, though, is, well, I don't know if it's necessarily an issue, is that JP Morgan has come out and said that they are not going to custody Bitcoin for any of their clients, but what they're going to do is allow them to buy this IBIT Bitcoin ETF. So if they're buying these Bitcoin ETFs, and then now they're allowing their clients to essentially borrow against it, it's interesting that even with Jamie Dimon still criticizing the US Bitcoin Reserve, in fact, in an interview the other day, I showed the clip on a previous live stream. He said, quote, "We should be stockpiling guns and ammo, not Bitcoin." Right here, right? We shouldn't be stockpiling Bitcoin. The reserve is expected to be formed using Bitcoin previously seized, though, which is, I think, a portion that Jamie Dimon is not looking at. And the US hasn't bought any Bitcoin just yet, which I think is an interesting aspect of all of this, is that, we have such harsh critics, but the reality of the situation is that the US hasn't even bought any Bitcoin yet. The US simply just moved Bitcoin from a seized pile into a global reserve pile. So if you're doing that and you're not using taxpayer dollars, why wouldn't you be all for that instead of using the seized Bitcoin, right? So I think that these Bitcoiners are these critics like Jamie Dimon when it comes to the global reserve, or the Bitcoin strategic reserve, are just unfounded. And at the end of the day, these guys are bending the knee. And they're maybe not doing it publicly with their words, but they're doing it through their actions, right? So JP Morgan offering all of their Bitcoin, or all of their clients, to have loans based on their Bitcoin holdings is something you should be keeping a extremely close eye on, because it was not too long ago that Jamie Dimon just allowed his clients to hold Bitcoin. He cleared Bitcoin for the bank. Look at this date, May 20th, 2025. So within a little over 2 weeks, Jamie Dimon and JP Morgan have absolutely flipped on Bitcoin. Now they offer Bitcoin to all of their clients. And on top of that, they are allowing you to borrow against your Bitcoin holdings if you're holding it with the bank. I mean, you just don't really see backflips like this unless you have your clients just banging the drum, telling you guys, hey, we want you guys to allow us to buy Bitcoin because we see the true value proposition of owning the best asset, the best returns on any asset that we've seen in the past 15 years. And it's not even close. And this is unlocking a market that is astronomical, right? It's digging in already to the $300 trillion bond market. But on top of it, it's going to start to bring in and start to dive into the $2.1 trillion market by 2033. That's this estimate, right? But currently, it's more than, let's say, $700 billion worth of a market that Bitcoin is now disrupting. So I think that at this point in time, if you're seeing all the writing on the wall, if you're seeing what Jamie Dimon is doing, if you're seeing, hey, he's looking at this chart too. He's looking at Bitcoin sitting at 104,000. And I know a lot of you guys in the chat are probably thinking, 104,000, what are we even talking about? And that's the crazy and the crazy part and the beauty of it is that we're seeing Bitcoin float around 104,000. And the overall just narrative of Bitcoin is still not where it should be. Bitcoin is starting to take over and take pieces of giant market shares that we haven't seen in previous cycles. So I know everybody loves to say it, but I truly do believe that this cycle is different. And there's a lot more people that are taking notice on this and saying crazy price predictions outside of here, just bullish green candle. We'll get into all of that here in a minute. So be sure you guys are sticking around here. But I want to give you guys the chance to win some free sats because all 100 plus of you that are in the chat right now, get your Lightning wallets ready because my friends over at the Bitcoin Well are absolute legends. They have now given me some Wishing Well tokens to give you guys some Bitcoin. You can go to bitcoinwell.com/green candle and get some Wishing Well tokens for yourself right this second. As soon as you make that first buy, you also get 500 Wishing Well tokens. So that's 2 flips for the chance to win 1 million sats. That's $1,050 right this second. So that's not crazy green candle spewing some crazy numbers. That's a whole lot of Skrilla Manila. And the beauty of it is they let you send it directly to cold storage. So let's see what we're giving away here. And make sure you guys are smoking that like Cheech and Chong and hitting the subscribe button with the bell notification so you guys know when I'm going live so you can come and get your 650 sats, maybe even more next time. On top of it all, we've got the Bitcoin Well if you missed out on that, right? Bitcoinwell.com/green candle. You could sign up here, scroll on down, go to their Bitcoin Well Infinite. And if you got 50K smackers, you could buy over half a Bitcoin. Do it quickly because I don't think we're going to see under 6-figure Bitcoin anymore anytime soon. And on top of that, the best place to store your Bitcoin is in cold storage. I got the easiest way for you guys, and that's Bitbox. You could go to bitbox.swiss/green candle. I'm holding mine right here. I've got it for you. So you guys know that I only give you products that I use. So go ahead and use them. Sign up today by going to bitbox.swiss and then go click this buy now button. Get the Bitcoin only edition. That's what I trust and use. And then you could get the Steel wallet below where you could punch your seed phrase into this Steel wallet. And you guys got to do this quickly because, you know, these Bitcoin lending products that we're starting to see, right? It's a revolution that is starting and it's coming quickly. We are not going to see these things slow down. And the beauty of this is that you never have to sell at this point in time. It's the hodler's dilemma. What Jack Mallers was saying was like, hey, you know what? I am fully on Bitcoin right now, right this second. I have $0 in my bank account. Look, I do. I have some in my bank account. I'm not Jack Mallers crazy just yet. But if I want to get to that place, what would I need to use? I'd need to use either sell Bitcoin so I could take a tax hit, or I could use Bitcoin-backed loans. And now all of these products are coming, and they're coming extremely quick. So buckle up, folks, because I think that this is not slowing down. We've got Rexana72 is saying, I don't think that there's a 10x upside anymore, but there's 60% downsides either. In my view, it would be a constant smooth upward. So I don't think we're going to see smoothness, honestly. What I think we're potentially going to see is the US or another big nation state announce, hey, we are buying a bunch of Bitcoin. We are doing it. We are stockpiling it. Or maybe it gets leaked. I'm not sure how that's going to come. But if that information gets leaked, gets out, gets said, what's Wall Street going to do? If we actually pass the Cynthia Lummis bill, where the U.S. is literally telling everybody, hey, looky here, we're going to buy $200,000 or 200,000 Bitcoin every year for 5 years and then hold on to it for 20 years. What is everybody else going to do? Wall Street's going to try to front run. All these other nation states are going to try to front run. And then if we get some enemies of the US, they might try to dump that Bitcoin too, just to tank the price. So I think there's still going to be cycles. I agree with you, though, that the people that are now scooping up Bitcoin and institutional adoption, we'll get into all of that in here in a minute. I got some more up my sleeve for you guys in this live stream, but I definitely see that as being a potential here. Said 16K BTC after FTX class. It wasn't that long ago. Many seem to have forgotten that already. I agree with you, McLovin, the GOAT in the chat. Ben is saying he thinks it's too risky to not own Bitcoin. We got Mexi Hodl and Franklin, Florida real estate. What's going on, fellas? But I agree with you. We have seen significant appreciation over the long term. And so just keep holding on. I mean, Bitcoin's CAGR over the past 5 years is 55%. That means on January 1 and December 31st, your money, your underlying fiat currency of fiat currency value of the Bitcoin that you're holding is 55% more on average for the past 5 years. If you do for Bitcoin's entire lifetime, that's 125%. If you do it for the past decade, it is 45%, which is less than that 55%. But that also kills the narrative of people saying there might be diminishing returns. So I think that we got to buckle up because there's a lot of adoption that is coming, and it is coming quickly. In fact, we've had some billionaires and some hedge funds come out and say that there is going to be an astronomical run up on Bitcoin, and it is coming soon. We've got multiple hedge fund managers now saying the most bullish things that we've seen this entire cycle. And I know that sounds crazy to say because of how much bullish news that we've had, but we had Tom Lee on CNBC the other day give a wild Bitcoin price prediction, and I'll let you guys hear it from him himself.
I think at a minimum it should have the same network value as gold. Mm-hmm. And if you look at above ground gold, it's probably 23 trillion. So that would be, 1.2 million for Bitcoin. But I think Bitcoin is more valuable than gold. So, Bitcoin could be 2 million, 3 million long term. Even higher.
So look at that. He said 2 to 3 million and even higher. And he thinks that just by beating gold, it is bearish. That is electric. We can't, the skyrockets in flight that we're going to see when we start to see these Omega candles is absolutely crazy. And he's saying, hey, at a minimum, it should have the same network value of gold. And you look at above ground gold, it's probably around $23 trillion. So that would make 1.2 million for Bitcoin. But I think Bitcoin is more valuable than gold. Bitcoin could be 2 million, 3 million long-term, even higher. Now, this guy, he's a hedge fund manager, and he's saying all this on CNBC. And they were absolutely flabbergasted when he said that. He's like, what are we even talking about here? $2 to $3 million Bitcoin per coin. You got to be kidding me. But the reality is that these asset managers have been in the game for quite some time. The difference is that they have never seen a shoot up in assets as far as market cap like we've seen with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is on a generational run, and it continues here, folks, as we've seen Bitcoin go from absolutely nothing 16 odd years ago to literally the 6th largest asset by market cap. We've got gold leading the way, which is the world's longest standing, asset that people have valued. We got Google that's been around forever, Meta, Saudi Aramco, Tesla that's been around longer than Bitcoin. Tesla even holds Bitcoin on the balance sheet. Berkshire has Walmart, JP Morgan Chase, Visa. It's beating all the other payment rails. It's beating the largest banks. It's beating the company with the most cash on the balance sheet ever. And it's creeping up on Amazon. It's creeping up on Apple, Nvidia, and Microsoft. And these companies are now looking at Bitcoin. Hey, should we put Bitcoin on the balance sheet? The institutional adoption is starting to come, and it's starting to come quick. And Cathie Wood actually explained why she thinks that Bitcoin is going even higher in this as well. So Tom Lee, not the only asset manager that's super bullish on Bitcoin, but Cathie Wood, another one.
Take up those newly minted Bitcoin, and that's going to happen over years and years, or they'll have to pay up to get holders to sell it. So again, scarcity value will drive or will increase because of the supply-demand imbalance, with institutional investors really having very little involvement yet.
So you hear that institutional involvement is having extremely small demand. But the interesting part is what my friend British Hodl has shown here. This is a great report by River, but the institutional adoption is mostly coming from businesses starting to stack Bitcoin on the balance sheet. Of course, we've had the ETFs start to scoop up, but the other and the governments are still at a small amount. It's just that individuals have been selling off like madmen. And it's crazy to see this. We shouldn't be seeing Bitcoiners selling off their corn like this to people like Michael Saylor. You guys are absolutely crazy. What are you doing? Michael Saylor will gladly take that Bitcoin, but at the end of the day, you guys gotta keep hodling, baby. Keep hodling because of what we're seeing. This might cause the Bitcoin supply shock. We're seeing massive amounts of Bitcoin getting taken off exchanges at a daily basis. It's absolutely crazy. Businesses are buying Bitcoin at a extreme rate, and Bitcoin is on that generational run, and we're seeing it continue here, where the amount of buying just keeps going up and up and up and up, and the amount on exchanges keeps going down and down and down. We reached this inflection point not too long ago of in 2024, so late last year, and it seems like the demand and the buying is just going to cause a supply shock. Friend of the program, Luke Mikic, who I was on his just chopping it up in his live stream not too long ago, look at what he's saying here. In just another week, the Bitcoin supply shock continues as these new publicly traded companies rip supply off the market. Logitech raised 1.5 billion, 15,000 Bitcoin. Vanity Coffee raises 1.1 billion to buy 11,000 Bitcoin. K-Wave Media raised 500 million to buy 5,000 coins. And there's just 3,000 coins that are mined publicly traded in a day. So just these new publicly traded companies alone bought 31,000 coins, or about 10 weeks worth of supply. So no matter how you shape it, this time period of their Bitcoin buying is rapid. And the amount that is going on these ETFs is also increasing, right? And it's not even increasing as quickly as businesses. So the ETFs, businesses, they're scooping up Bitcoin at a rapid rate. And it's absolutely insane how much we are seeing this buying pressure coming in, and the amount of Bitcoin getting scooped off exchanges. So what does that mean, right? I mean, Cathie Wood essentially lined it out. It's simple supply and demand economics here, where we're seeing the supply of Bitcoin that is currently available go down. There's less reason for people to sell because of the new lending products that we're seeing from Strike and even JP Morgan, but many others now that are starting to come out and offer these lending products. So then we see those no reason to sell, supply going down, and demand for Bitcoin going up like absolutely crazy. It's like we've got some addicts here, and the only cure is more Bitcoin. You know, we've got that that meme that the only cure is more cowbell. But hey, The only cure for all of this is, hey, y'all got any more Bitcoins? And that's what we're kind of seeing here, is that these ETFs continue to scoop up more and more Bitcoin. Businesses are just absolutely starting to scoop up more Bitcoin. And it's interesting because the amount of entities and publicly traded companies that we're starting to see come online and buy Bitcoin is just taking off. I mean, like, it just honestly can't even be made up at this point. So these Bitcoins that are these corporations that are now scooping up Bitcoin are going absolutely bananas. And there's just now corporations that are essentially dead, that Bitcoin as a corporate treasury hedge is now being made for as a case by Fidelity, one of the biggest asset managers in the planet. They've laid out a case as a corporate treasury hedge against 6 major risks, both high and low, considering the FX liquidity. In a world of monetary distortion, Bitcoin isn't a gamble, it's a strategic response. That's from Fidelity and Bitcoin for Corporations saying all this stuff. So these guys obviously have their ears to the streets when it comes to these Bitcoin corporations. And so if all of these guys are now extremely bullish on Bitcoin, and we start to see more Bitcoin start to be put on balance sheets of corporations, it seems like it's the perfect cocktail that we're stirring up here for a Bitcoin potential supply shock. And I know you guys call me crazy, as I've been saying this for quite some time on the channel. And that's something me and my friend Luke agree so much on, is that it's just simple math at this point. We're seeing Bitcoin just getting scooped up off of an exchange, and you guys taking your Bitcoin off exchanges, maybe buying with Bitcoin Well and put it on your Bitbox. Well, how many of you guys are looking to go and trade that? Now you have that other step of friction. Maybe you have a spending pile, maybe you have a savings pile, whatever have you. But all of this is now extremely, extremely interesting, where we see Bitcoin absolutely start to disrupt giant market sets. And Bitcoin is now starting to look at potentially disrupting the real estate market. It's the bond market. But Wells Fargo came out and said that the Bitcoin strategy that, that the Bitcoin strategy that MSTR is now implementing is underrated. And the interesting aspect of it is that the overall $300 trillion bond market might be the most underappreciated Bitcoin story of 2025, which is absolutely crazy here, right? I mean, like, how are we looking at this where Wells Fargo, how many assets under management do they have? Let's see. Because I know it's one of the biggest banks. So it has $1.9 trillion assets under management as of 2024. So our total assets, 1.9 trillion, which is absolutely insane. And it has 603 billion assets under management. So they see these things and they see the writing on the wall here, right? I mean, how could you not? Their clients are looking for it. Their clients are clamoring at the bit. Hey, guys, we want Bitcoin and we want more of it quick. McLovin is saying that I sound like a bullish funeral director preparing for the service of fiat. And that's right. I mean, my friends over at the Bitcoin Way, you guys always say I look like a funeral director in this picture. I'll take it as long as the funeral is for fiat. Go to the bitcoinway.com/green candle. You'll see this ugly mug here. You could book a free 30-minute consultation. They can help get your Bitcoin off exchange if you guys are nervous about it. They're a great, trusted company. They'll never touch your private keys. They'll never do anything like that. They've got 25 years of cybersecurity experience, so they can help you make sure that everything's okay. Bitcoin's a daunting task to get into, especially self-custody. A lot of people are nervous of just buying Bitcoin originally, but you guys should definitely go on and look at the overall offering that the Bitcoin Way offers. And on top of it, part of what I love about Bitcoin is meeting you ugly mugs in person. I'm just kidding. I'm the only ugly mug here. You could go to BTC Prague and use promo code Green Candle. You'll get 10% off. I just booked my ticket to Prague today. I know, guys, I am very late to the game, but you guys should go to BTC Prague, use promo code Green Candle, and I will see you guys all there. Arson's asking, what about retail investors? Hey, retail investors are looking at this chart too, right? Retail investors are doing that. I think that these products are going to start to come down, right? I mean, we're starting to see giant lending products really start to make way, but there's going to be some retail investors that are going to be given the opportunity to buy and borrow against their Bitcoin soon. There's potentially, some partnerships. Maybe I'll tease that. There's going to be a partnership here potentially in the near future with a company that can help you guys with these Bitcoin loans. But I know right now I've got Unchained. If you guys want to go to them, they offer one. You could go to unchained.com and use Green Candle 50, I believe. And if that doesn't get you there, let me know and we can figure that out. But you could use that or Green Candle Signature if you got one of their signature products. But they help you with commercial loans. They give you Bitcoin IRA. They do all these other things, business Bitcoin lots. So like I said, right now, institutional investors are winning with that. But I think the overall products are coming, and they're coming soon because we're already seeing some of the biggest loans get taken out here. I mean, look at this SALT loan that we have. We've got $105 million Bitcoin-backed loan coming already here. And this was just released less than a week ago. So this is the largest loan that we've seen to date. And these products have been around for how long, or really making waves for how long? I mean, Bitcoin institutional adoption is absolutely huge. And Ben is saying that the Figure is offering them, and so is Strike. Strike, I believe the limit is 75,000. Don't quote me fully on that. I know that they keep updating those limits and those changes. But I think for individuals, it is currently 75,000. So maybe not the full of what you want just yet, or the access to everybody. But I do think that that is coming, right? I mean, we're seeing the SALT lending loan of 105 million, which is massive, right? So it's collateralized credit, and it's the LOI by Golf Suites. It hasn't come through yet, but it's an estimated 105 million in senior secured credit facilities, including 35 million for Golf Suites and 70 million for ERS to build and rent manufactured homes. So it's even overtaking the mortgage area of this. So McLovin has said leaden. I'm not quite sure on leaden. You guys in the chat, let everybody know, because it seems like there's a lot of demand for these products. And if you know any of these products that are looking to market, Green Candle has a lot of demand, it seems, because these loans, I think, like personally, I want to be able to use one as well here pretty soon. No monthly payments. That actually sounds interesting. I'm not quite sure how that could potentially work. It sounds like there's a little bit of a risk there if there's no payments, but I don't know. We'll maybe have to dive in, maybe get Mauricio on the show and we can talk about these payments. But Bitcoin's sitting at 104,000. So you don't even need a full coin in order to get a loan with Strike. The only issue is you have to have Strike custody that. Now, some of these other ones, maybe leaden, you don't have to. Unchained, maybe you don't have to. I think you guys should just do your own research and make sure you're being careful not to get too over leveraged, because there is the potential, right, of big giant swings that we see in the Bitcoin market. I think with leverage, you always got to be super careful. But the reality of the situation is that we always see Bitcoin chugging along. So Bitcoin up over 52% in the past year, and year to date, it's up 12.2%. And everybody's bearish. That's the crazy part about this, is that even with this, everybody is freaking bearish. Why are we bearish, guys? There's so much bullish news on what is going on, And I think that the reality is that we're seeing some potential here coming through of more and more Bitcoin. And we've got over 200 of you. Make sure you guys smoke that like Cheech and Chong and hit that subscribe button. We'll give you guys some more sats here as well. So get your Bitcoin wallets ready because we are going to be giving away some more sats here. Thanks to the friends over at Bitcoin Wells. So use bitcoinwell.com/greencandle. You guys heard the spiel earlier, but 500 points when you sign up, 500 points on your first buy. That's 2 chances for you to win 1 million sats. All you got to do is hit the subscribe button with the bell notification, and I'm giving you free sats. There's 474. Again, straight to the dome piece. So keep on coming to these live streams, folks, because what we're seeing is the change in ownership and a dramatic shift in the Bitcoin landscape. We're seeing people now lose out to corporations when it comes to just the overall Bitcoin market. So we need the individuals to rise up, right? The businesses are starting to see the true value proposition of Bitcoin, and people are still missing the boat. So tell your friends to tell a friend to come and join the Green Candle live streams. And thank you for all 200 plus of you joining on Twitter and YouTube. I'll catch you guys all at the next one.